One of the other things I think is super interesting is how you guys stood for something. A hard lesson. I mean, I even hear about it now. It makes me cringe a little. Is you guys boycotted the first rap Grammy, which was you guys. So and you
Yeah.
guys boycotted it. You guys did not show up to the Grammys because you guys were standing for something. Why don't you explain to the audience what that was about?
Um, at that point in time, hip hop was very vulnerable.
Hmm.
Hip hop to me was on this cusp of it can either fall flat on its face and just be done, or it can be basically what it became is a music that will be here for the rest of time. So to have anybody say, I'm not rocking with hip hop, or hip hop is dead, or hip hop, you almost felt the need to fight for it because this was what you did. This was what we did. This got me out of my mom's house. This took me around the world. And you're challenging that. You're basically saying something that I do. You ain't gotta like it,
Yeah.
but you saying that it doesn't belong, you don't have the right to say that. So for us to get it to the point that it's notoriety and people are selling records, now we're at the point of, you know, now we're getting acknowledged at the American Music Awards and the Grammys. These are things that we would sit in the house and watch on television that Michael Jackson did. Now, okay, we're finally going to add hip hop into the category at this major award.
Hmm.
And they turned around and said, but we're not going to show it on television.
Wow.
And it was like, wait a minute, I don't understand. Well, we're going to have it at the 4 o'clock ceremony that on the screen it's just going to be a rolling teleprompter of these are our previous winners. And I was like, but hip hop is arguably one, two, or three in sales and in popularity in music.
Hmm.
So you can't bump, no disrespect, you can't bump one of the 9 country and western categories you got and put the hip hop awards in.
Hmm.
And they were like, no. And we were like, well, listen, if it's not big enough for you to show on TV, it's not big enough for us to come. And we ended up picking up the phone, and Salt and Pepper and all of the other acts that were nominated just kind of chimed in and was like, well, we're not going. And listen, what I tell everybody, I'm not sitting here acting like we did some socially relevant thing. We didn't know it was going to turn into this. This was just as simple as you're not believing in what we're doing, we're not going to show up. That was it. And it just became really big. It was a snowball effect. Of course, all of the news medias and everybody started to chime in and was just like, that's not right, and we were just kind of like, yo, it's not fair. We just really want them to acknowledge that this is something that's here. And, we didn't go, and it was wild because this was something that you waited all your life to hope one day that this would happen. And we won, and we were in the hotel. It was kind of like, okay, this is cool. But, it really was almost at the point of, so I can't, this is pre social media. I can't tell my friends I won a Grammy. They're going to be like, I didn't see you. I watched the show. I didn't see you. I'm like, yo, yeah, well, when the screen rolled up and they showed the name, my name was there. No, like, no, I want you to see me just like you saw Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross and U2 and whoever else. Like, no, don't give me the cheap way out, and fortunately, I think that made a difference that people started to pay attention. And now you look at it and it's kind of like there's not a corner on this globe that hip hop is not probably the most influential music ever.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because you got to see it in its infancy, right? You got to see it in Philly, which wasn't in New York. And it's funny how you talk about you guys had the impression that the DJ was the leader and the rapper was right. So that was another thing that I think took presence in how you guys portrayed that and Philly in itself. and then later on to the Grammys. I mean, that's crazy. That's just an amazing story. Um, Another great story. You have so many, man. I can literally pick your brain all day. I'm gonna try to be real respectful of your time. But
I'm good.
the one thing I want to ask you is about the Fresh Prince theme song. This is funny.
Yeah,
So Will goes to LA. You said he was always an actor, right? Had his guy always filming him, and he would make these little home.
yeah.
But so he gets offered the part, comes back, and then they were talking about the theme song, and you said, "Nah, we got to do it." So you guys whipped up a demo in about 15 minutes. I'll let you finish. This way you can.
I mean, it's when it came down to okay, this is actually going to be a show.
Yeah, yeah,
Because Will went to go do when he went to go do the audition or whatever you want to call it, and he came back and said, "I got a show." I'm still thinking this is your man with a camcorder. I didn't really think it was a show until I saw the pilot, and I'm like, okay, well, first of all, it's about 4 people in this that I actually know from television, so this is real. And then this isn't a camcorder; like this is a real show. And when he was kind of like, "Hey, you know, Quincy is going to, they're going to come up with a theme song," and I was like, listen, there's no way that the Fresh Prince can do a TV show and not do the theme song.
mm,
So Quincy was like, "Okay, do it." And it's kind of like we know how to make records. I didn't know how to make a TV show song, so we literally we literally worked on something for 15 minutes because I really thought that it was going to be a placeholder. Let me make this beat. Will's going to do the rap. We sent it in. When I tell you I didn't mix it, I didn't do anything. I sent it in, and the next week, when the show aired, the song was there. And I kind of thought, okay, it's going to be there for like 2 episodes, and then they're going to do it for real. And the song never changed. So I'm kind of like, okay, I don't get it, but I'll take it.
that's crazy. Oh man! And then didn't the label put it out some kind of way, like they without your knowing?
Yeah, yeah. It came out. It came out. I don't remember it coming out. I remember going in a record store and picking up the record and was just kind of like, okay, all right, guess y'all put this out, huh?
Yeah, put this out. I hope you were receiving checks. I'm sure you were receiving checks from everywhere. So
Yeah, somewhat.
it's somewhat. Yikes. So big shout out to Maceo and DJ Franzen in the building. They're saying what's up, salute in the chat. Shout out to everybody else in the chat. I see you guys. Franzen's gonna be on Wednesday. We're excited to have him on. So make sure that. So he says, has Jeff
Yeah.
talked about the time he was playing in Vegas at the Encore Beach Club?
Oh my God, that was another one. Um, Rest in peace to my brother DJ AM. Like me and AM were very, very close. Um, and when AM passed, it was really, really hard, and they wanted to do tributes to him. And it was funny because they had a tribute in New York that I really wanted to do the tribute in New York. First of all, because I could drive to New York and I could drive back. And then they basically was like, "Nah, we need somebody to anchor this AM tribute in Vegas." And it was kind of like, AM and I had a residency in Vegas, and it was like, okay, all right, I'll go out there and do that. And it was literally like, okay, what I'm going to do, as if this is a tribute, I'm going to play a DJ AM set. I'm going to honor him by playing exactly how he would play when we were in Vegas. And it was wild because we start playing, and I always know when something's not right because the road manager at the time, whenever he's running back and forth, I'm kind of like, okay, something is up. And I probably literally played for about an hour and 20 minutes. And especially back then in Vegas, we would play everything. We would play hip hop and rock, and we would go and and this was kind of like the birthing. of EDM, and we would always kind of end our sets off pretty much in an up tempo EDM type. And I'm probably 3 records away from going up to that. And the manager comes up to me and he's like, listen, I didn't want to say anything, but for the past 40 minutes, they have wanted to kick you off. And I was like, to kick me off for what? And they were like, because that's not what they wanted you to play in this club. And I was like, so am I playing what they want to play, or is this a DJ AM tribute? And I was like, oh, so this is an AM tribute in name only. This is somebody trying to prostitute DJ AM's name to get people to come in. This don't have shit to do with his legacy of what he did. And it got to a point that I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm good. And I played one more record and I left. And what was wild is the DJ that came on after me started with the record that I stopped playing. And I'm looking like, are you kidding me? Like you argued with him for so long that it became not about what I was playing, it became the principle. This was we are in the positions of power that I think that we want you to do what we want you to do. And it got to the point that, it was kind of like, okay, so let's not negate the fact I come from the school that I'm not playing music and everybody is just standing around mad. The floor is packed. Everybody's hands in the air. Everybody's having a good time. So I'm trying to figure out, what is it that you want me to do that is going to change the outcome of what they're feeling?
Yeah.
To me, they're the most important people. I listen. I am the first person to know if I am not doing my job. I don't need a club owner or a manager to tell me that. I can look out on the floor and understand, because they are the most important people to me. That's your fan base. It's not the club guy pays you. The club guy books you. If they don't like you, I don't care how much he pays you and books you, it's not going to work. So, I had already had a residency at the Palms where AM and I, were playing. And once they got wind of that, it really became a whole thing of, we want you to come here and play whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like this, we trust you as who you are. And I said it, like, the day that I am not living up to that trust, you can come to me and you can tell me. But please don't tell me what to play. Please, like, you know what I mean? Hey, I don't know how to build a house. I'm not going to tell the architect how to build my house. I may tell him that, I want a chandelier and I want this and I want a room like this, but I don't know anything about the structure of building a house. So I leave that to the people who know. And unfortunately, sometimes some of the people in position of power almost want you to do what they want you to do, and it becomes a tug of war.
That's crazy. So I feel like this is a good segue because there's a lot of DJs in here that are a little bit fearful about going back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, think about it. Everyone in the chat, I want you guys to listen because I mean, think about it. Franz is talking about he was fired from a place for playing hip hop, and Jeff is saying it. So it's not just the bigger guys as well. But how do you prevent that? I mean, is there anything that you've kind of I mean, because I feel like that's a touchy one because think about what you're saying. The dance floor was packed, people's hands are in the air, and then someone had something in their head of what they wanted you to play. So they were just using, so how does someone handle something like that?
Well, first of all, this is what I will say. If it's your club, you have the right to want it done however you want it done.
Hmm.
What I said is, I was like, right party, wrong place. It was as simple as that. Like, yeah, this was the right party. This was just the wrong place. And I think, like I said, it's really hard because as a DJ, I look at it like we are We serve three people. We serve ourselves, we serve the people who hire you, but we're also servants of the people. Like that's one of the things that has been one of the biggest lessons for me. I am not DJing for myself. What I can tell you, in the 80s, we DJed for ourselves. In the 90s, it was almost like I'm a DJ a little bit for myself, but I'm a DJ for the crowd. Once we got to the 2000s, it was really about you making sure that those people that paid their money that are coming in to have a good time, are you making them have a good time? It's not about me.
Mm.
Like it's really about them. Sometimes where the argument or the battle comes in is sometimes the club owner wants it to be about them.
Mm.
And that's where the tug of war comes. Their clubs, I knew of a club in Miami that the people who ran the club forbid you to play certain records. And it's like, wait, so because you don't like somebody, because you got a problem with somebody, you don't want this record being played in the club. But what if 100 people come up and say, oh my God, something's just got a new record out. Can you play it? Do you want, now you're going to be mad if I'm like, well, I can't play it because the club owner is mad at the guy and he doesn't want his music played in the club. You kind of like, what kind of childish shit is this? It really, that's one of the reasons why I think right now is so much of a crucial and great time, because right now you have the ability to change the narrative. You got the ability for all of those people that you're playing for. Those are the people that you're playing for. All of those people, you can take them on whatever kind of journey you want to take them on, to the point that it's going to be hard to go into a club for someone to say, you have to play this or you can't play this. You didn't tell anybody to do that for a whole year.
Mm.
Like, this is one of those times that I kept saying that this is the DJs taking the control back. This is, unfortunately, right now, most of the DJs are their own managers, their own booking agents, because we haven't been out. You're your own tech person, your own videographer, you're your own art department. There's a level of control that we have taken back that I don't know. There's going to be a lot of DJs that don't want to give that control up.
Mm.
There's going to be a lot of DJs that don't want to get that control up, because this is about to be a different world. This is about to be a different landscape. This is, just like the DJs have figured out a way to navigate through all of this crazy stuff. The club owners haven't. The club owners haven't. At the end of the day, if you own a club and you're kind of like, okay, I want to do a virtual club, who do you need to play that virtual club? Right now, every DJ that streams on Twitch, you are the DJ, you are the manager, you are the club owner, you are everything. Your club is the hottest shit in the world right now. So now I think it needs to be more of a partnership when it comes back into these venues. Book the people that you are going to allow them to play what they want. Book people that you trust. Book people that you listen to and you like, you know what, I like that. I'm going to wait and see if the crowd likes them or if they don't. Listen, I ain't got no problems. If they do not like what I do, done deal. But that's my boss.
That's good. I mean, honestly, I think that's slow clap for that one. So what do you see going forward? Is it going to be a hybrid? Are you going to go back to regular touring? I know right now still a weird time. You know what I mean? Even with the vaccine, all this crazy stuff. Some places shutting down. Some places are wide open. It's a really, really unique time in the world.
Mm.
What is Jazzy Jeff going to do during this? Are you eager to get back out there? Are you in no rush at all? Like, what's your look on this?
Okay, so this is going to be an interesting answer,
Hmm.
and I want to preface this by saying this is my answer. I think one of the things that we have to understand is there is no general answer that everybody's going to agree with.
Of
I
course.
think you have to figure out your situation and figure out what works for you. That's how I've been treating the entire COVID situation. Yeah, I see what people are doing. I'm going to choose to do what I want and how I want it for my benefit. It doesn't work with everybody. There's some people that's just kind of like, yeah, I don't believe this, and I'm not going to wear a mask, and I'm just going to go out. That's not me. I am not. I don't have a plan of going back out on the road right now. I have watched a lot of people, and understandably, I watched a lot of people treat this off of hope and not logic. There's a lot of people that hope to go back out. They hope the clubs to open back up. They are hoping for the world to be back where it was. Logic tells me we're not there yet. We are absolutely not there yet. I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine who lives overseas that said something that really shook me. And he was like, you know what's crazy? He said, I've watched people have mass burning ceremonies, complain about wearing a mask, saying that it's my constitutional right. The only place they're doing that is in the United States of America. Everybody else, I got friends. Like I said, my last tour was in Australia and New Zealand. I'm watching festivals in New Zealand because they did it right. My biggest thing right now is we did not do it right. I am so angry because if you got 90% of the people that did it right and 10% of the people did it wrong, it's going to start all over again. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what did I stay in the house all this time for? If you were going to go out and start this shit all over again, like you just set us right back. I'm watching, and I get it. Like, trust me, I understand the whole thing of people just kind of like, yo, I can't wait to go back out. I can't wait for the world to be, back where it was. But I'm looking at logic, like, okay, so, are we in the clear? Is everything good? Like I watch people, I'm watching these festivals pop up like, okay, such and such is happening. And I'm kind of like, wow, so we good? Like are we good? Or are you scheduling this because you hope for us to be good? Now I understand it. I hope for us to be good too. But I am not running myself for the sake of being out there, running myself into something to get sick again. Like I said, this is my perspective. My perspective comes from me almost dying of this shit.
I get
So
it.
I'm like, yeah, listen, I hear you. I was on my deathbed, bro. So I am not playing with that. I'm not playing with my health. I got a 92-year-old mom that what freaks me out. 2 days after coming back from my last show, I went to go visit my mom.
Oh wow.
It wasn't at the point that it was contagious yet. I could have killed my mother. You know what? I'm good. I'm good with waiting until we are in a much better place. I'm not faulting people who don't. All I say is I pray to God that you just take care of yourself. Understand that this is real. Just take care of yourself.
Wow, that's good. Honestly, that's a slow clap on that because that was yeah. Um, DJ Expo is going to be in August. Will you be attending?
I doubt it. I don't. And you know what sucks to me about this? I don't believe that we are going to do what needs to be done for that to go on the way it should.
Mm.
And it's kind of like I'm not the half person. I'm kind of like, man, listen, if I'm gonna go to my favorite restaurant, I want to go to my favorite restaurant and get my favorite meal with my favorite people.
Mm.
If I can't do it like that, then I don't want to go. I'll wait. I'm patient. I'll wait because I believe that things are going to be better. like I said, I'm not trying to get political or any of that kind of stuff. I'm going solely off of logic. This ain't got nothing to do with politics. And I'm just kind of like, if, and I always use this analogy. If someone told you that there was a man eating lion that killed 500,000 people out in the streets, would you go out? Like,
Mm,
would you go out? Like, listen, I know it's out there. He bit the shit out of me.
mm,
So until he's captured or someone kills him, I'm cool right where I'm at. I ain't got to go to a club because I'm dying to go to a club. Like, yeah, you could literally be dying to go to a club. I'm good. So, and like I said, that is not the fault of anybody or how anybody handles it, because this is one of those things. This is the same way with the vaccine. You got people that, you know, don't want to take the vaccine. There are people that do take the vaccine. There's no right or wrong way. The right and wrong way is your way. How do you do it? Like, it shouldn't be a thing that if people take the vaccine and somebody don't want to take the vaccine, I'm not messing with him because he's not taking the vaccine. This ain't the Crips and the Bloods. Like, at the end of the day, you're a free thinker. If it works for you in your life, do what works for you. This is not a right and wrong thing. This is, you know what? This is how my life is going. This is how this is. I think I want to do that. Like, make up your own mind. And one last thing that I'll say about that, if you are questioning what you should do, ask a professional. Don't ask social media. Don't let Pookie on the internet tell you about the conspiracy theories and stop you
yep.
from doing it. Go and ask a professional. If there's questions that you need to know, if I need to know what's up with that lion, I'm going to ask the lion tamer. I'm not going to ask my man.
So good on that one. So good. I think it may be frozen. Oh, there it is. All right, it caught up. It was your screen was frozen for a second. Um, all right, so let's get into some of the writing and stuff. You wrote all the stuff for Fresh Prince on the show, right? You wrote pretty much the whole soundtrack, like anything that was on the show, correct?
I did most of the bumper music was Quincy Jones III.
Okay, got it.
I did the theme song.
Oh, okay, so theme song. You also
Mhm.
produce a lot, and I don't think a lot of people know about all the projects you get into. Could you maybe let us know some of the latest projects you've gotten into?
Well, from the Jill Scott, the Music Soul Child, the Floetry, like a lot of the soulful stuff that was in the late '90s, early 2000s. I did stuff for The Simpsons. It's funny that I I I really treat a lot of the music that I do like kids. um, that you create these things and you put them out into the world and you let them grow into whatever they're going to grow, and you go back and you do it again. um, you know I, I I have always had a level of superstition of paying attention to a lot of the stuff that I did, because I've always felt like the more that you do that, the more you're signaling it's over. um, I do not believe that I have done what I am here to do yet.
Hmm.
And I don't know what that is. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure if it has anything to do with music. I don't know. There's just something in me that I don't think I have done what I was put here to do yet. So, I'm gonna play it out until I can't. Yeah, I could very easily be wrong. I love the. I'm not afraid of the unknown. I love the fact that I go back to the early days of hip hop. When we were putting needles together and cutting out cardboard, and we didn't have butter rugs, and we would put quarters on our needles because we didn't have needles. We didn't necessarily have the DJ equipment for us to do what we want. We kind of rigged it to work like that. We were the ones that took the mats off of 1200s and threw them away and put wax paper on it because we wanted to slide. And now the infrastructure is set up with all of those tools for us to be able to do it. But I enjoyed that period of discovery of, okay, I need to make my record slide better. Let me try out an album cover. Let me try out wax paper. Let me try out a piece of cloth. Like somebody had to do all of those things to get to butter rugs and
Mm.
sure, 44/7 needles and things like that. So, I think I look at it like that. Like I enjoy the discovery of it. That it changes a lot as you get older because the responsibility factor comes in. When you didn't have a wife and kids and you were just, doing this as a hobby, you were more um inspired to take chances,
Mm.
and it's kind of like, now we're kind of get to the point of, people are a little bit more apprehensive about doing it. But I am somebody that I really love the discovery part.
Now, I don't know if you'd be open to do this, but would you put out to the world like maybe some of your goals, like something you haven't done that maybe an accolade you'd love to reach, something you'd like to?
Um, I'm in the process of working on a jazz album. I am very much a fan of so many different kinds of music, and I really want to do a jazz album that I'm working on. There's a couple of people that I want to do music with that I'm working on. Working on some stuff with. It's really funny because you'll get people that will ask you kind of like, if you could, what do you see the next 10 years, or what would you hope to be doing in the next 10 years? And I can honestly say, I don't want my shit to change. I'm cool. I'm cool right now. I'm cool with playing music and making music. And this is probably the happiest that I've ever been. If I can continue doing this for the rest of my life, I'm good. Like, sometimes people, think that everything should be bigger, everything should be better. I should, be bigger than I am. I should be better than I am. And then sometimes people are just kind of like, no, I'm good. I'm good right now. Um, and I think it's less hassles for me to kind of just get to a point that I'm like, I'm settled in where I'm at. Yeah, you like to do work with more people and, but I am not, I don't want to be a slave to pushing to be somewhere where I'm not. It's almost like appreciating. I think, you know, one of the things, once again, not trying to get spiritual, one of the things that I got when I got sick, I prayed for health. I didn't pray for wealth.
Mm.
I prayed to spend some time with my wife and kids and be able to take a deep breath. It was a perspective change for me that happened. That if I look at it like someone comes, it's almost like if someone comes to you and tells you you got 100 days left to live, I don't think you would waste any one of those days. I don't think you would allow certain levels of bullshit to come into those days and those times to waste a day. You will appreciate every day.
Yeah.
We don't know how many days we have left. So why not look at the same? What if you don't have 100? What if you got 10? So I think I choose to, I want to make each day count. I want to make each thing count. I want to have some level of enjoyment of every day of my life as much as I can. Some more than others, but at the end of the day, I can't, I don't cry or complain about what I don't have. I'm
Yeah.
appreciative of what I do.
That's good. That's really good. Everyone in the chat, give me the fives. Give me the fives. That's some great advice. So, I want to speak to the people that maybe are in transition or haven't figured it out, and maybe the pandemic set them back more. Um,
Mm.
because you have from the perspective of integrity, and you really put in time for your craft, and you're someone that like sees things through. Could we maybe give them that perspective and let them know, like, what would you tell them to urge them to say, okay, well, look, now it's an even playing field. These are some things you can do and maybe change and alter about yourself that could get you to that next level.
Well, once again, like I said, a lot of this is personal opinion and where you are. Um, I just believe that when we all kind of got locked down, there wasn't so much of a hierarchy as much as everybody was in the same place and everybody was trying to figure it out. Um, Unfortunately, there were a lot of people that chose to wait instead of really kind of jumping out. At the end of the day, um, what I think you're going to have is the streaming era has birthed a lot of really new and dope people that we did not know about,
Mm,
and a lot of the legendary people we have not seen or heard from.
mm,
So I think it's about to be a little bit of a blurred lines that I don't know if you're the person that was the hot guy in the club that you chose not to do anything to wait for this to ride out. I think you might have lost your job to somebody who's doing something right now
mm.
because the promoters, the club owners, all of these people are home too. And a lot of them might be clicking saying, well, where's my guy at? Where's my guy? Where's the guy that used to rock the club? Like, where's he at?
Yeah.
So I think, this is a level playing field. You really should have come out of this. If you're not streaming, you need to be a better producer. You need to be a better engineer. You need to have learned how to play keys or the guitar. There's something with your craft that you don't need the club to work on, that I hope and pray that everyone has chose to do that. And I think that is the main thing that I'm kind of like, yo, like, take this time to hone whatever you want. Man, I know people whose Serato crates are a mess. Fix them crates. Get your music organized so that you know what you got. Make some edits. Figure out something to do to help through this transition.
That's good. Really, really good advice. So, what have you noticed with people standing out? Has there been some people? I don't know if you want to call them out, but I mean, you could do that in a good way, meaning the people that have stood out to you, like, wow, I didn't know who this person was, and now through the streaming services, maybe content, because you said something really important a few months ago, and you said content is king right now.
Oh my God. Like, at the end of the day, when you really sit and think about it, a lot of these people, even down to the Netflix and all the rest of that, people people are making content on their own and then going to sell it. Long gone are the days that someone pays you to do something before you do it.
Hmm.
Like, you almost got to do it now and then show them. Like, don't wait for someone to give you money to make an album or make a project to come out. Make that project and go get the money from them that way.
Hmm.
Like, show them. You almost have to show your worth first, but you showing your worth, you can basically navigate how you want to do this. There are people that are just making content online. Look at how many podcasts are out there that have blown up, that people are getting $5 and $10 million because they are very entertaining to have a conversation with.
Hmm.
A lot of that stuff was birthed, or I don't want to say birthed, but exploded, with us being locked down.
Yeah.
This is really one of them times that I'm like, yo, if you got an idea, figure out the best way to make that idea tangible, that I got it on a hard drive. I got something that I can show. People don't want to hear, hey, man, I got an idea for this album. If we did this and this, I think it'll be hot. Nobody's going to pay you for the idea. They're going to pay you once you execute that idea.
Mm. Preach. We're in church right now. So, um, I don't think people realize how you like house music because you got some
Oh
house,
my
you got
God.
some heat. I wish people knew. Could you explain to them, like, where did it start from? I mean, it's literally I text, so I'm friends with Todd Terry, and I text Todd, and I was like, Ted, Todd, Jazz is gonna be on, and I know you're good friends with Kenny Dope and stuff. So let's
Mhm.
talk about the early days of that and to what it is now with your love of house.
Well, what's funny is when I started DJing, it wasn't no such thing as a hip hop DJ or a house DJ. or a funk DJ. You were a DJ. You played music, whatever call. I remember going with 6 crates that you had a hip hop crate, you had an R&B crate, you had a house crate, you had a funk and soul crate, and you had a slow jam crate.
Yeah.
And then you had a miscellaneous, you played everything. It wasn't until we got to a point that everybody started putting things so much in a genre of he's a hip hop DJ. Like, yo, I play music. I play all kinds of music. I've played house since it was four on the floor, from Love is the Message with Philly International. Having friends like Kenny Dope, Louis Vega, Ty Terry, Terry Hunter. You know, I remember going down to Miami for Winter Music, and the whole vibe of the whole house music community. I remember watching Kenny make records, press records, and sell records and play records of his own genre. And I was like, wow, it sucks that we can't do that in hip hop.
Mm.
It was a community, and I almost felt like hip hop became too much of an industry, that it wasn't the community that the house music community was. But for me making those records, and this, it really goes back to as simple as people listen to house music because they want to dance. Wasn't that the reason we started DJing? We started DJing for people to get on the floor. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to go into a zone and I'm going to enjoy myself through the music he plays. And it's kind of like that is where my love of house music, came to be able to go to Ministry of Sound in London and watch Kenny and Louis play a 5-hour set and watch people just lose themselves. It's kind of like, yo, like that was it. That's what you want. And even to that, one of the things that I will say, I pay attention to history. So much of the Roaring Twenties was birthed off of the Black Plague. Once the Black Plague was over, everybody came out. The entertainment just exploded. We are in the beginning of a musical renaissance, to me, like the Roaring Twenties. And
Mm.
what I will tell you is, if you have been stuck in the house, when you come out, you are going to want to dance. Whatever music you have that's going to make people throw their hands in the air and have a good time and rejoice getting over this shit is about to be king. So I would advise you to line up your disco, your house, your up tempo, whatever people are going to want to dance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the Discord and start reading some of the questions. Anybody who hasn't participated in that, make sure you do so. What you have to do is go to tweakmusictips.com/Discord. I'm going to bring that up in just a second, and make sure that you do the same mods for me. Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about your mods. Are you any of your mods in here? I'm sure they're in here chilling. Why don't you shout some of them out? I don't know if you know do you know the names? I'm sure you probably like 25 mods, but
Listen, it's this. My chat is moving so fast, I can't catch anybody. I know my man Jess Nails in here. DJ Flipside is in here. I'm looking at the Baker Boys. Like, this is like a family reunion of all of the people that are in this chat. So I love it.
all right. Awesome. Big shout out to everybody in there. Let me give a couple shout outs really quickly just to kind of catch up with this. Big shout out to DJ Caramel. Shout out to Marquise Music. How are you? Alex Mejia. Big shout out to him. Flipside 33. That's one half of the Jump Smokers. Shut up, big homie. Shout out to you. Shaggy 47, Big Ed Smith, Joshua Carl, Chanel B, 909. He's managing the Discord. Thank you so much for doing that. DJ Bishop, what's up? Jamal B, Gen 908, Liz Gia 08, DJ Flavors, DJ Chris Craze. What's up, fam? How you doing today? We got a bunch of you. Ali Air, what's up? San Francisco, the Bay's in the area. We'll come back from just 1 second. Let's just get through some of these here. All right, so let's see. DJ Nice with a K Nice, or it's K Nice. How are you? Have you ever had a contact with Ice since the early days?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Like we'll text every once in a while. Like it wasn't on bad terms or anything like that, and especially when you really kind of sit and look at it, we both were probably if I was 20, he was 18. So, it was we were at a very different point in time in our life.
All right, so let's see. So DJ Menace, he goes, shoot my shot again. So shout out to DJ Menace. I got to get the 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 air horn support. So we had Qbert on, which was a friend of yours, and Menace made a scratch record, and he wants to know if he goes, shoot my shot again, Kova. Jeff is a legend. Can I send my scratch record to him, please, Mr. Jazzy Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. I'll
There you,
I'll I'll get the information. Absolutely. I am the one thing that I will say that I love about this time. I
yeah.
have never gotten as much music from people. We have been sharing music. The remix game is on 100%. People are really showing their creativity, and so I definitely appreciate giving and receiving music.
Shout out to Menace 84 for shooting a shot 2 times in a row and getting it to two OGs. There we go. Rico Steez, where do you go for your music inspiration?
um, what's funny? I think what you have to do is almost kind of. I think my earbud is going out. Um, I think you almost have to surround yourself with good music people that you do swaps and trades with. We have a really big network of people.
DJ Zamming, Zammy Z, what's up here? He says Jazzy Jeff wants your attention and their spouses. All right, wives want their attention of their spouses. Shout out to Tanya. That's Jazzy's wife, by the way. Amazing person. Uh, with that being said, does your wife ever think about you being or marrying Jazzy Jeff because of your passion for the music, or would you be traveling a lot? I don't know what that means. One second. With that being said, does your wife ever think about you being or marrying to the music? Maybe I think he's saying about the you being more married to the music than her. Is that ever an issue, or are you good with balancing?
Well, you know what I think? I think you have to take care of that in the beginning.
Mm,
Like I think that all comes down to the mate that you pick. Um, my wife knew, one of the most famous sayings that my wife and I have is we know who we married.
mm.
I know she knows me, I know her. There's no surprises. I think that, you need to make sure that you are your true authentic self to give whoever your mate is time and understanding if this is right. Like, I think you would be upset if you became something and then you got married and then it was like, ha ha, I never liked your cooking.
Psych. Never liked to cook. How long you been married, brother?
11 years.
Oh, that's a long time. That's good. That's good. Shout out to your wife, man. Seriously, holding it down. Uh,
Yes.
and he says, question number 2 is every DJ has a breaking moment where a DJ has to prove himself in a public setting. How old would you? And tell us when that breakthrough moment was.
Oh man. I think mine, I was probably about 13.
Hmm.
And I was DJing a block party. And, during the course of a Saturday in the summer, it could be 10 block parties going on. So you can have a block party, have all your equipment set up, and nobody's there
Yeah.
because there's someone that everybody wants to see 5 blocks away.
Yeah.
At 13, I DJ'd a block party, and just so happened this Saturday, every last one of the big DJs was off. So everybody was there and everybody was watching. So that was pretty much the time of, after that, people start asking you to do their house parties and the school dances and all the rest of that. Because, if I could manage a crowd of people at 13, I think people pretty much felt that I could do whatever I needed to do.
Slow clap on that one. We love that story. That's great. Another thing too, you said you didn't also do it for the money, right? Like in the beginning specifically, you would just
There wasn't any money to do it for. You know, I tell people I got a job. I got a job to pay for the equipment for me to do your party for free. It was more important for me to get a fan base than money. Because once you get the fan base will support you forever.
My brother, that is a gem. I think everybody in the chat, give me the fire emotes in the chat. Give me the fire emotes in the chat. That was amazing. No, seriously, that's great advice. So DJ Pudgy asked, sorry about that. He asked like 18 times, but we had to move it over to the Discord, my brother. How many people does Jeff have on his streaming team?
One. Or basically two. It's my wife. My wife basically handles the chats and all the rest of that. And I have my streaming guy, Dan. And we do it from there. We'll sit down and dial all of the camera stuff in and do all of the technical stuff. We kind of go over all of the technical stuff at least once a week because with StreamYard and Restream and all of these platforms, they've been updating for the past year. And you can do one update and all of a sudden something's not working and your quality goes down. And this is also something, like I said, I love this. I love tweaking and learning and how can we do this and what can we do? And, so we'll sit down and he'll say, hey, I got a new overlay or, there's a new update for such and such that will allow you to do this, but it's literally, on the Saturday streams and the big stream is, my wife is pretty much producing it. Dan is pretty much, the director and running it. And I just play music.
That's dope. Shout out to Dan and Tanya for their hard work because it's a great show.
My wife's name is Lynette.
Oh, Lynette. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I just saw.
I was like, who's Tanya?
No, you know what happened was Macio's wife, Tanya.
Yes.
We just said what's up. Shout out to Macio's wife, Tanya. Sorry about that. Lynette. Shout out to Lynette. All right.
I'm sure Lynette was asking who's Tanya too.
She was like, wait. She was like, Jeff, what I got to know about? It was like, sorry. It's Lynette. Sorry about that. All right, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Mars 3833 says, what does Jeff think of the impact of the DJ community? He helps the community up as being inclusive and respect he gives to the other the other DJs is impressive. So meaning, what do you do for the community? Like, what do you think would uplift the community? Like, what do you do to uplift the DJ community?
You know what it is? It's kind of like, I think this is a time that we're all in the same boat, that we don't need to push people off the boat to make room for more people. We need to help people on the boat so that we can all sail through this together. So I think, me doing streams, I've done streams with Maceo, I've done streams with Baby U and Scratch Bastard and starting from scratch. It's kind of like, it's really about the community of us coming together. Somebody like DJ Scratch has had Scratch Vision forever. When I first started streaming, Scratch broadcast, my stream on Scratch Vision. He didn't have to do that, but that was all of us, kind of really sticking together. And I think the more that we do that, the easier it will be for us to get through all of this.
Awesome. Super cool. All right. So DJ Loco Lopez asked, how big do you think AM would be in this community if he would have lived? That's even crazy to think about. AM was very, and I've told this story a bunch of times. The thing that I respected the most about AM is he was fearless. I remember coming into, I was playing in Vegas on a Saturday and I came in a day early. I go down to the club, AM's playing, I come in the booth and, hey, what's up? Dap him up. And he's just like, yo, have you heard this new Mobb Deep record? And I was like, no. And he just loaded it and played it. It was 3,500 people in the club. Yeah.
And I remember looking at him like, bro, did you just And he was like, yeah, that'd be all right. And I was like, wow, like I gave him credit because we don't do that. You know, a lot of times, you know, we have the tendency to play it safe. And he was extremely fearless in his approach with music and what he played and how he played it. You know, for somebody to be that big, you know, I often say that AM was in a club cutting up the Wick by Gangstar.
Mm.
That kind of made the 21-year-old girl who didn't know anything about it, it kind of exposed her to that. He didn't have to do that. So I'm kind of like, yo, you know, I gave credit because he really pushed the entire DJ culture. Yeah, AM played, you know, AM was one of the first guys I know to play Daft Punk. AM played EDM. AM played The Wick and Mobb Deep in a Vegas club at 2:00 in the morning with 3,000 people. You know, he pushed the entire genre forward, and it would almost be scary to know where the John would be if he was still here.
That's good. That's really good. All right, so let's go to DJ Alias asks, is it true that Will and Jeff don't do house party because the New Line Cinema sued them? And what happened to the suit?
We got sued by New Line Cinema for Nightmare on My Street because the Fat Boys did a deal with New Line Cinema for the Fat Boys had a Nightmare song.
Yeah, I remember.
Around the same time that we did. And New Line Cinema did a deal with the Fat Boys, and our record got a lot bigger than the Fat Boys record. And instead of embracing it, they sued us. And a part of the suit, they were like, we want to offer you and Will a movie role. But they gave us the ability to turn the role down if we didn't like it. That they would offer us 3. If we didn't like it, we turn it down. It was over. So we kind of looked at it like, oh, man, this is great. So everything that they offer us, we're just going to say no. And the first movie they offered us was House Party. That they actually wrote House Party for Will and myself. Because if you think about it, in House Party, one of the guys was a rapper and one of the guys was a DJ.
Yeah.
And I still have the original script. And we were just like, no. Like, nope. Okay, we're done.
Oh, wow. So that would have been a completely Kid and Play would have been a completely different.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that. Great question, Alia. DZ Smoking That Thing asks, how do you decide who to raid?
A lot of times it's just one of my friends. Like, first of all, because I wasn't doing the rating because I'm in the middle of playing, and Dan is the guy that will raid. You know, he would sometimes say, hey, if Scratch Bastard is on, you want to raid Scratch Bastard, you want to raid DJ Scratch, you want to raid Maceo. I think a lot of times it's depending on who is on that we would just raid. It wasn't anything. I didn't realize how big of a thing that was. You know, I didn't realize that like that was a thing, you know, that it's like raiding is a thing. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. This is, you know, which I also think is really dope that you can have 2,000 people and just move 2,000 people to a whole nother party. I'm kind of like, I wish we could do that in real life.
Right.
I want a real life raid.
Shuttle buses, right? Yeah. Shuttle buses from one to another. But just not as successful, right? Because
yes, exactly.
Let's see what else we got here. So Mixademic, shout out to him, says, what piece of DJ recording gear were you the most excited to get?
DJ recording gear. You know, I am a gear fanatic. I am a gear fanatic. And I have worked with a whole lot of companies in helping develop a whole lot of technology that a lot of people behind the scenes, you know, don't know. I am always on the quest for the perfect gear. I want the perfect I've always believed that the perfect set requires more. The perfect set requires the perfect gear, the perfect timing, and you to have a flawless day. Like, it's a quest that I think I've been on that I have never, feel like I've gotten. But it's, I look at it like the race car driver who wants to drive the perfect lap, the basketball player who wants the perfect game, the golfer who wants the perfect, round of golf. It's something that we all go after that I don't think any of us will ever get.
That's awesome. Okay, let's see. So Philip Tan asks, can you ask Jeff if he has any tech hacks tips he's added to his workflow since he started streaming?
You know what? One of the things that I've been doing, I use Dropbox a lot, and I have multiple computers that if I'm searching for music on a computer that I'm sitting in my bed, I have a folder in my Dropbox that is connected to my Serato computer. So anything that I find, I just drop it in that folder. So when it comes time to go play, I walk into the studio and I go in the Dropbox on that folder and just pull down all of the music. It kind of helps you for not carrying a hard drive from place to place. Sometimes you'll download music and you forget to transfer it. If you have one central location for all of the music that you're getting from people, if someone sends me a folder of music, I put that folder right in that Dropbox folder so I can grab it on my Serato computer.
That's good. That's great. Yeah, it's a great hack. So let's see. DJ Pudgy asks, what is Jeff's most prized piece of vinyl and why?
I don't know. I have a lot of records. I am happy that I have the space to be able to hold a lot of my records. I don't know. I have never been the person that's kind of like, this record is so rare and so expensive that I don't want to use it. Like, it's kind of like, I've never was the person that wanted the car or the piece of equipment that was so special you're scared to mess it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I believe that records are to be played, equipment is to be used. I never wanted to have the house that my furniture was so neat that you make everybody take your shoes off and you don't. Like, no, I want to jump on my couch and take a nap.
That's good.
That's how I treat my records.
Exactly the same. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay, so Victor P says, was the Peter Piper routine done as a tribute to Rock Raider?
No, well, what you got to understand is I think people were doing routines off of Peter Piper ever since Peter Piper came out.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that's there are people who have done a million routines. I am not one of those people that say that I invented shit. Like, you're credited with a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, we would go to the record store to find records to do routines off of. That's what the 80s was all about. So as soon as Peter Piper came out, every DJ that I knew came up with a routine, because you had a routine off of Run's House, you had a routine off of My Adidas, you had a routine off of Curtis Blow the Brakes. Like, it was every record you bought 2 copies to come up with a routine. So
that's good. All right, so ADR 001, shout out to him. ADR from Paris asks, do you have any Dilla stories? And how does record plaques, are they a distraction from the money?
Dilla and I were very good friends. I went on a very famous digging trip with Dilla and Kenny Dope. We drove out to Pittsburgh and went to Jerry's Records, and to have 2 of the most legendary, beat diggers on each side of me, basically making a pile of stuff for me. Like, hey, you got this? Nope. Hey, you got this? Nope. Like, that was one of the best. That was my best digging trip of all time. So, just, like I said, Dilla and I were friends. He would come to Philly. I'd pick him up from the airport. I would take him to the record shops. I would take him to get a cheesesteak. I'd take him to his jeweler, and I'd drive him back to the airport. He would take day trips into Philly. So that, that was a little bit different, just our relationship, because it wasn't solely based off of music as much as he was a genuinely good dude. If I did a show in Detroit, he would come to the show. He would take me to all of the spots that he would dig for records in Detroit. So it was the same. And I think the plaques thing can only be a distraction if you allow it to. I think different people do music, or different people handle art how they see fit. It is no wrong way to do it. I'm a very big advocate in that. How you choose to do something is right for you. It's no overall right. Is it right for you? If you do music because you want 100 plaques and make $1 million, that's cool. If you do music for the love, that's cool. There's no wrong way. It only comes down to you. I think it's only wrong when you're doing it for a reason that's not what you really want to do. Like, don't lie to yourself, and that was one of the things that I tell people all of the time. The first person you need to be honest with is you, and ask yourself, why are you doing it? And be cool with that changing, because there's some people who do it for this reason and don't do it for that reason anymore.
That's good. I feel like that's something that definitely attributes to your 37 years in the game and you being happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like you do things that are organic to you, and anything that takes you out of that maybe makes you compromise who you are. Would you
Yeah,
add?
and being honest, I wasn't always like this. There was points in times that you was like, man, I'm trying to sell a gazillion records and be a multi-millionaire. And this, you get to a point that is kind of like, okay, you know what? I've had a chance. I have some life experience that I realized that some of the stuff that I wanted, that I got, I was extremely unhappy. I had a day in the studio that I was doing an interview, and someone asked me to name my 3 happiest moments, in the music business. And without a hitch, I was like, yep. And then Will and I did this house party at such and such. And then I did such and such. And the guy said, wow, none of that stuff happened when you were successful. And I literally had to look and be like, oh shit, he's right. That I equated my success with my happiness, not my status.
That's good. I forget what we just had. We just had somebody on. I don't know who it was. Oh my gosh. Chat, if you could help me. And they were saying that their happiest time was when they were couch surfing. Right before they made it. That was their happiest time. There was no stress. All right, we're gonna do 2 last questions. Then we're gonna let him. We have to let Jeff and gracefully here. We're killing him here. All right, so let's see. So DJ B Nice 732 says, "What does your Serato crating system look like, and what's your methodology behind it?"
It sucks. It really sucks. You know what I would do is, if I had a special event or a club that I did, and I put together a really good set, I would name it that club, and that became a template that you would add and subtract from that set. So especially somebody like me who has done so many different kinds of sets, I have that set when it comes to house and club. I have that set when it comes to commercial hip hop. I have that set when it comes to underground hip hop. That's set when it comes to sample flips. That's set when it comes to disco. And what I choose to do is I play in between all of these folders, because I don't want to just play a commercial hip hop set. I want to play 5 commercial hip hop records, and then I want to play 5 funk and soul records that kind of marry those two. And then I want to play, like, I don't like being stuck in one place. But yes, it sucks, man. Like, I think that has been the thing. I think people who have mastered their crating system in Serato have mastered some kind of quantum physics of trying to figure it out. Mine works for me, but I do have those times that I'll go on and start playing, and I feel absolutely lost.
Yeah.
Like, I got a zillion records. How am I lost? And it's just sometimes when you don't know where things are and you can't get to them, you know, um, sometimes, but that's hopefully that's what this time off allows you to do. Like, let me work out some level of a system with my crates.
That's good. That's good. All right, we're gonna do one more question. The last one is from DJ Epic asked, "Who is your favorite Twitch DJ, famous or not?"
Ah, man, you know what? I got way too many. I have too many favorites.
Mhm.
Way too many favorites. Um, it was funny that I saw a stream by a friend of mine, DJ Nuts. He's from Brazil.
Okay.
I He had a stream one Sunday that I went on, and all he was doing is playing really dope jazz cuts. He wasn't cutting, wasn't scratching. He would go to his record wall, show everybody the record, and then play it. And I was on there for about 4.5 hours going nuts because it was a discovery of music. It actually made me mad at myself that I don't play music the way I used to.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, Scratch Bastard and I talked about that he has a record room in his living room. He doesn't have a television. That when him and his wife eat dinner, he would just grab an album and play it from beginning to end. And I'm like, that's so dope. I remember doing that. I remember taking drives in the car, listening to an entire album. And I think, we process stuff so fast now that we don't allow ourselves to enjoy music. We play it, but I don't want to be just the person who plays music. I want to enjoy music too. So there's times that, I want to clean my house, and I just put an album on and I listen to it from beginning to end.
That's good. That's really good. So, Jeff, tell us your schedule when the next time your streaming is.
I do the Magnificent Lunch Break, 12 noon Eastern time on Wednesdays. And that's on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram when they don't cut you off. And then the Magnificent House Party is every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we do a Friday night. We try to do one once a month that I have special guest DJs on. And that's really just a party. That's kind of like, grab a bottle of wine and just get in front of your TV, get in the chat, and just party. And I also think that this is one of those things that I don't think streaming is ever going to go anywhere. I think what is about to happen is once we start to go and do outside venues, you're going to start watching these venues make sure that their internet capabilities are up, and they're going to want to stream because there is no way for me to play in front of, 1,000 people at a club. And we did a stream for my birthday that had about 400,000 people watching. There's no way I'm ever giving that up. So you may see me in person, but you're always going to see me online.
I love it. I love that. No, that's so cool, and it answers the question too, Corey, because people feel like it's an either or thing, but I love that yours is a hybrid because it makes sense. And another thing too is there's people from all over the world that you can keep in contact with.
That's it. You're playing for more people now than you ever played for. I think where the disconnect comes is you can't see them.
Mm.
So to me, that's where this requires a level of faith. You don't see the people, but you don't know who's watching. I can't even begin to tell you some of the shows that I got from somebody watching that I didn't know was watching. You can't even begin to imagine maybe how many lives you saved of people who was having a really, really bad day, and your music is what gave them comfort to keep going. So it you can't just go by what you see. You have to have some level of faith in this.
That's good. I great advice. No, and I love, like I said, I feel like Jeff. I feel like because you're a seasoned vet, you've given a lot of people perspective. because it's a weird time. So I feel like people are very either or, and nobody's kind of asking, does this fit my needs? Does this fit with
Yeah,
my schedule? You know what I mean? Do I really want to go out yet? Is you know, you don't have to jump to either or. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of people are on the fence. Like, you know, you actually were hit by COVID
yeah,
pretty hard. That, I mean, that'll shake somebody up and really make them think twice,
absolutely.
right? Value life.
And I also think that don't be upset if you don't know.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I'd rather you say I don't know and I'm trying to figure it out than make a decision and that might not be the right one. Like, it's cool. Like, this is a weird time. This is a weird time. There's so much stuff that I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We never saw this coming. There's nobody that you can pick up the phone and be like, hey, man, I just trying to curious how you handled the Black Plague when it was out. Like, this is new to everybody. Everybody you ask is going to give you an educated guess because we don't know. So, you know, embrace that. Like, hey, man, I'm living this day by day. You know, I think the greatest gift that a DJ could have today is the ability to pivot.
that's so good. So good. All right, Jeff. So next time we catch you is going to be on Wednesday at noon Eastern, or what, East
Yeah.
Coast, West Coast? Okay, got it. Are you in East Coast, West Coast?
I'm East Coast.
Oh, I didn't know. For some reason, I'm thinking something else. But that's why when your wife Lynette and I were talking, I was like, "Is this East Coast or West Coast?" And I had to keep elaborating. So I was put both the coasts just in case.
Yeah. No, we're 100% East Coast.
Oh, 100%. Okay, got it. Yeah. So, all right, good. So it's going to be 12 noon on Wednesday. I'm trying to think. I wish there was a way. How long is your set on Wednesday?
Wednesday, I normally play for an hour. Saturday, I play for 2. And then Fridays, you know, depending on who you have, you know, it all depends. We've done, you know, pretty much almost festivals that we've, you know, streamed for 8 hours. You know, it all depends on what y'all love. It all depends on how you feel. Like, you're not, you know, locked into anything specific. It's kind of like, hey, man, if you supposed to play for an hour and the groove hits you, keep going.
Keep going. What's the longest you've ever played?
I played for about 3 hours.
Okay.
You know, I play until my body tells me you should stop.
Yeah.
I don't ever want people to get tired. So it's kind of like, you know, if I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, I'm playing now, and you know, it's almost kind of like you're not trying to wear people out. So, you know, it's just, you know, let me play until my body's kind of like, okay, I'm good. You know, hopefully everybody else is good.
That's awesome. All right, everybody. Big shout out to, oh, there it is. Wait, I'm hitting my controller. Big shout out to Jazzy, Jeff. Yo, thank you so much for coming on, man. I can't explain how grateful we are. Like I said, for me, it's kind of crazy. I didn't want to fanboy, but I was like, I was watching on TV, and not only that, but your first and second album, and just seeing you and Will just grow. So it's really cool to see you. We've actually met in a couple of expos and stuff like that, but you meet a gazillion people, so it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. We had over 1,000 DJs in here just chilling, going nuts over your story. So, I mean, I want to thank you so much for doing that with us.
And this is a beautiful platform, man, and I appreciate you for bringing DJs together, because this is, you know, we're needed. We don't have a union, you know what I mean? So we kind of got to have our own union and basically look out for each other, you know, until we can figure a better way to handle this. So I salute you for even doing this.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you. Seriously, it means a lot coming from you. Thank you. Everybody in the chat, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's going to be a really good time. Make sure Wednesday you check us out. We're going to have DJ Franzen in the building. Las Vegas Hot 97, DJ to the Stars. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. UK. Friday, we got Sophia Eris. That's Lizzo's DJ, is going to be in the building. I'm sure you know all these people. You're like, Sophia, let me just text Sophia and all them. And then Tuesday, we have A-trak, so don't forget next Tuesday. But we'll see you on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. I wish you were on a little longer, because I would love to raid you, Jeff, just to kind of just reciprocate some of the love that you've given us, man. So,
well, what I can do is, how about I raid you, since
Whoa.
you're 1 p.m. Eastern time and I'm 12 p.m. Eastern time. So when I'm off, I'll raid you.
Wow. I don't know if you guys heard that. Jeff, that would be absolutely phenomenal. Wow. Thank you so much. I didn't actually do that for that, but wow. Thank you, Jeff.
Listen, like I said, man, we got to look out for each other.
Last thing you want to say to them? What you want to say to them?
Listen, man, I appreciate y'all. We are going to get through this. I just need you to get through this safe. I'm trying to have you here. So I appreciate y'all for the love.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, everybody. So we'll make sure to see you on Wednesday, 12 noon on Jeff's channel, Eastern time. And we're going to see you guys at 1 p.m. Eastern on our channel. And we'll see you guys soon.